Mic check, mic check, mic check. Give me 1 second. Make sure we got the audio toward. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Barakatham, and all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh, Shemal, Latham, Shem Yahushua, all the sisters. I mean, we're gonna get it cracking right here in a second. Alright, sound like we out toward. Alright. Lock you, bear with me 1 second. You know what I mean? This is the Lashawan Qadash class. You know what I mean? The Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. If you attended class tonight while, you know what I'm saying, we taking this brief second. Go ahead and get your notes out. Go ahead and get your learning utensils out. Go ahead and get everything you need. Go ahead and get everything you need so that you can be prepared for class. Alright? Alright. We're gonna get started in here in just a second. Alright. A lot here. Bear with me. Also, if you got any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Any Lashawan Qadash related questions. You know what I mean? Go ahead and put them in the chat. Since I'm talking about it, let me go ahead and cue up the chat right quick. You know what I mean? But if you got any Lashawan Qadash related questions, you know what I mean, go ahead and put them in the chat. We get to them, get your questions answered. You know what I mean? If you're a diligent student, you know what I mean? If you're a diligent, you know what I'm saying, brother or sister, trying to gain back our culture, you know what I mean, you should have some questions. You should participate in any class that you involved in, or that you participate in, that you see online. You know what I mean? So if you got your questions throughout the week, you know what I mean, go ahead and write them down. Then once the class come up, Lashawan Qadash class, once you get into that class, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and ask your questions in that class. You should have a list of questions, or you know what I'm saying, anytime you have a question, just write it down in your notes, put it in a text message, send it to yourself. Whatever you got to do that's going to help you out to be productive in the truth, then, you know what I'm saying, do that. So that when the class come up, whether it's scripture breakdown, whether it's brotherhood, law class, or whatever the case is, Lashawan Qadash, whatever the case is, you know what I mean, you should come with them questions. So do whatever you got to do throughout the week, write them down, take a picture, whatever you got to do, so that once that class come up, you got your questions ready. All right? All right, so Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Barakatham, to all the brothers, Shalom, Yahweh, Shemal, Latham, Shem Yahushua, to all the sisters. This Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. Again, it's the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. We break down the scriptures from a linguistics perspective. You know what I mean? We get our culture and identity from the Bible. You know what I mean? Like the Most High said, like our culture, you know what I'm saying, descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I mean? Our culture comes from this Bible. Our culture comes from the scriptures, the records, the separate records that was left in the Bible. You know what I mean? And that includes the language as well. So, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. You know what I'm saying? We should obviously get familiar with the scriptures, you know what I mean? And break down, since we in hell, and we've been taught so many lies, that we got to break down the obvious truth in the Bible. But a huge part of that is learning our language as well. All right, so we don't want to be lackadaisical on that. You know what I mean? We don't want to leave our language on the back burner. So that's what we do this Lashawan Qadash class for every Friday in Killeen, Texas. You know what I mean? Since I'm talking about it, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? In your city, wherever you're watching from, if you're not in the truth, you know what I mean? Make sure you get connected with the nearest ISUPK school or location to you, right? You know what I mean? While we on the topic, also, Salaki. Also, if you haven't already, you know what I'm saying, if you're not aware already, I'm about to put it in the chat right now. Salakia. 1 second. Salakia. Bear with me. Salakia. 1 second. If you haven't already, go ahead and make sure you like, you know what I'm saying, like and share, comment on the class. Make sure you like and share, you know what I'm saying, we got the annual South Texas Cookout coming up. Make sure you go ahead and share that link. I just put it in the chat, you know what I'm saying, that GoFundMe. Make sure you share that. Make sure you donate to that GoFundMe link so that we can have a, you know what I'm saying, a beautiful cookout like we do every year. It's going down, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a big deal. We're going to show brothers and sisters how to, you know what I'm saying, kill and eat, you know what I'm saying, kill and prepare our food, you know what I mean? Instead of going to the butcher shop, we going to go and get what we need, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, live animals and all of that, and teach brothers and sisters the skills that they need to be able to survive on their own and completely separate from our oppressors' society, you know what I mean, completely separate from their culture. So, you know what I mean, go ahead and share that link, you know what I'm saying, to loved ones, you know what I mean, if you're not able to donate yourself, share it to loved ones, have them donate, you know what I mean, whether you in or out the truth, you know what I mean, just, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, share that link, donate to that GoFundMe, and if you can't, share it to loved ones who can, you know what I mean, let's make sure we got another glorious cookout for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to come together, learn their culture, and experience real brotherhood, alright? But with that, we're going to go ahead and get right into it, you know what I mean? We're going to start off with how we usually start off, all right, with the Lashawan Qadash alphabet. Again, if you're not familiar with the Lashawan Qadash alphabet from Adatha, you know what I mean, you should charge yourself with learning that, you know what I mean, especially if you're an officer. Like, you should charge yourself with learning that. If you don't know that, and you're an officer or you're a aspiring officer, you should charge yourself with learning the Lashawan Qadash alphabet. All right, so that you can be efficient in being able to teach your people your culture and identity. Because again, you know what I'm saying, we teach our brothers and sisters our culture and identity according to the Bible. But if you don't know the language, or if you're not even interested in learning the language, or if you're not even investing any time to learn the language, then you really half-assing Salakia. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, let's stop half-assing our culture and put the time and effort it takes to learn our language as well. You know what I mean? Because every culture has a language. All right, so we're going to start from Adatha. If you don't know it, you should practice it. You should have it in your notes. If this the first time you're hearing it, you know what I mean? Just listen and, you know what I mean, follow along as you are able to. As we, you know what I'm saying, if you got there, we got to, Salakia, 1 second. We got a Lashawan Qadash alphabet diagram, you know what I mean? Every person should have it in your notes. You should have the printout and the penmanship that you've been practicing as well in your notes. You know what I mean? If you don't got that, let's go ahead and catch up. All right. But we're gonna start off with the alphabet. All right. We got A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Salaki, Za, Cha, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, and Tha. Alright? That's going to be your Lashawan Qadash alphabet. And make sure you remember, you know what I mean, for the Lashawan Qadash alphabet, make sure you remember, or Salaki, for the Lashawan Qadash, when you're reading along in the Lashawan Qadash, or when you're studying the Lashawan Qadash, when you're, especially in Sabbath service, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow we're going to have Sabbath service hosted by Officer 500 Tapazar, you know what I mean? If you participate in Sabbath service, you know what I mean, reading along in the Lashawan Qadash, make sure you remember these 4 steps, all right? This is going to be very, very helpful for brothers and sisters, especially if you're not, you know what I mean, if you look at the Lashawan Qadash during Sabbath service and it's kind of a blur to you, or it's like it's really discouraging to you. This is going to help you build your confidence while reading the Lashawan Qadash. All right, so you start off with, and again, as we say every week, you know what I mean, these are in no particular order, but you're going to see all 4 of these components as you looking at phrases in the Lashawan Qadash. All right, so you want to make sure you identify your prepositions. They're going to come before the root word. All right, right. Your positions are listed here. They never come off the board. So if you ain't got them in your notes right now, you tripping. But you know what I mean. If you ain't got them now, go ahead and get them today. You know what I'm saying. If you got any questions about them, then you know what I'm saying, ask, and then we can go over them. Actually, we're gonna go over a lot of them. Well, actually, not today, but the possessive, we're gonna go over a lot of possessive today, because that's the lesson, as you can see in the title. But that's the bringing me to the next step, the possessives. You know what I'm saying? The possessives are gonna come after the root word, right? Which is gonna identify the subject, who we're talking about, right? And that's gonna come after your root word, right? So you wanna be able to identify those, get familiar with those, and then be able to identify your root word. Whether you know the root word or not, you should be able to identify where the root word is. And being able to identify where your root word is gonna be helpful by knowing your prepositions and possessives. You know, sometimes you're gonna have a root word that stands alone, which brings me to the next point with a tense. All right, so this is gonna be it's gonna be a character or characters that are in the midst of, beginning of, or end of a root word that changes the context of the root word. So you got your doing tense, all right? You got your pluralization tense. You got your feminization or your servile tense, all right? You got your, you know what I'm saying, all of these things, right? Past, present, and future. You got your stems. All of these different things that's going to affect your root word. All right, so these kind of go hand in hand. You know, your root word, as we say every week, your root word is going to have 2 to 3 characters. So if it has more than 3 characters, you know that there's a tense in there somewhere. All right, and this is going to come in no particular order. So, you know what I mean? You might have a root word by itself, a root word with a tense. You might have a root word with a preposition, root word with a preposition and a possessive, a root word with just a possessive, or you might have a combination of all 4. All right, but it's important to be able to identify all 4 of these things, because that's what every phrase is going to consist of, and you knowing those things is going to help you be able to read through and flow through the Lashawan Qadash more fluently and with more confidence. All right, so today we're going to talk about first, second, and third person. All right, so it's going to be an important concept that you're going to have to understand, because as we move forward and we compound our knowledge on the Lashawan Qadash, you're going to have to understand your possessives, your prepositions, and the perspective that we're talking from. All right. So each and that's going to be very important with learning your stems as well, like what perspective we're talking from. Being able to dissect the Lashawan Qadash is going to revolve a lot around what perspective we're talking from. So if you know the perspective that we're talking from, then you're not going to have to guess or have to stumble over, you know what I mean, certain phrases or certain clusters of phrases, because once you know the perspective that we're talking from, then you know that 9 times out of 10, each word or each phrase, each cluster of characters is going to end with that perspective identifier, for lack of a better word. And we're going to find out what we mean by that. All right. I'm going to give y'all a second to get in y'all notes, get everything prepared. You know what I mean? We'll get right into it in just a second. All right. So again, we're gonna be going over first person, or first, second, and third person. Lord willing, you already got your notes out. You know what I'm saying, for that brief little intermission. All right, make sure you got your notes. Make sure you got everything you need. You're gonna need your possessors, like we talked about earlier. You're gonna need those possessors, and be able to just look at them off on hand. You know what I mean? Because those are gonna be those are going to give you the context of the perspective we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's what possessors are. It's talking about who or the perspective that we're talking about. Is it me or my? Is it you, your, his, it, her, our? You know what I mean? Your, their, we, us. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So you want to make sure you really hone in on those prepositions, or your possessors especially. All right, but and then we're gonna get into formal and informal ways to say those things. Me, you, her, it. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, and informal ways, which is gonna be your possessives, right? And then we're gonna talk about first, second, and third person. We're gonna be able to categorize those things. All right. So before we get started, we're going to talk about first person, all right? So first person, you know what I'm saying, we should be very familiar with first, second, and third person from English. But if not, you know what I'm saying, we're just going to start from the bottom, all right? So first person, when you're dealing with language, is talking about, you know what I'm saying, yourself. So first person, if you're telling a story in first person, you're talking about yourself, all right? And that's where the term first person comes from, yourself, all right? So put that in your notes. If you don't understand that already, put it in your notes. First person is talking about you. So me, my, I, myself, things like that, right? And then second person is talking about you, right? So if we having a conversation and it's myself talking to you, then I'm first person, you're second person, all right? So that's the second person context. And then third person is me and you having a conversation, right? So I'm first person, you're second person, we're having a conversation about someone else, right? We're talking about something else. So that's third person. So first person, second person, third person. All right. So that's in a nutshell how to understand it, but we're gonna get into detail about it because this is gonna come up a lot. You know what I mean? We about to go into a lot of new topics, a lot of new subject matters, and you know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot of first, second, third person going on, and then you're gonna have to pair that with pluralization, right? Singular pluralization, right? So singular is obviously, you know what I mean, just one thing by itself. So singular is just one thing. Plural is multiple, all right? So for example, well, it really goes without saying, you know what I mean? One thing is singular, multiple things is plural, all right? So you want to understand that. And then also another thing that's gonna come up a lot, and as we progress in our knowledge in the Lashawan Qadash, as we progress in these lessons, gender, you know what I mean, is gonna come up a lot. You know what I mean? So as we know, you know what I mean, there's two genders. You feel me? You know what I mean? Despite what your oppressor want to teach you, there's two genders, there's male and female. So it's either going to be male in a masculine sense or a feminine sense. You know what I'm saying? In any language, you got masculine and feminine. All right? So, and I'm telling you this, you know what I'm saying? You should write this in your notes. You should write it in your notes or just burn it into your memory, because as we move forward in more complicated lessons, we're going to pair these concepts. So first person, right? Let me write it down here. You got your perspective, right? First, Well, actually, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's necessary to write it down, right? But just follow me, all right? Follow me. Just walk with me real quick. So you got first, second, and third person, and then you got masculine and feminine, all right? And then you got plural or singular. So as you read the scriptures, and we're gonna find examples. Next week we probably, you know what I'm saying, tonight we're gonna give a little homework just to fast forward. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give some homework. Tonight I want you to look up these examples. You know what I'm saying? Look through the scripture, just read from Genesis 1 and 1. You know what I'm saying? Read through and see if you can identify some of these examples. But we're gonna go over it. I'm gonna go a little deeper into what I expect from you. You know what I mean, after this class is over. But, you know what I'm saying? Just look through the Lashawan Qadash, read from Genesis 1 and 1, and see if you can find some of these examples. But as you read through, you're going to see that these perspectives go hand in hand. Like you got, so you got first, second, and third perspective, right? Let's use first perspective, or first person perspective, for example, right? So you got first person, all right? So we talking about me, all right? But we might see that paired with, you know what I mean? What if there's more than just me? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking from my perspective, but what if there's more than just me that I'm talking from, that I'm talking about, right? So instead of, well, let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's go over these possessives real quick. All right, and it's gonna make it real clear. All right, so we got the first possessive we got is Yah. Right? So Yah means what? Yah means, and if you got the answer in the chat, you know what I'm saying? You got the answer in the chat. Go ahead, put it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Participate. Show that you in class. You know what I mean? Show that you participate. Show that you in the truth. You know what I mean? Not just some internet Israelite. Show that you participating. All right? If you're going to be in class, participate. All right? Or just, you know what I'm saying, log out and go turn on Disney or something like that. Turn on Netflix and, you know what I'm saying, just do that. You know what I mean? But if you're going to be in class, you know what I'm saying, participate. If you're not going to be in class, just don't. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say, you know what I'm saying, I'd rather you be hot or cold, or the Lord will spew you out his mouth. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be in class, be hot or cold. All right? I mean, meaning be in class or don't be in class. But don't just have class playing in the background and then you around here just watching Hulu. You know what I mean? Class just in the background playing so that you can act like you in class. All right? But a lot of these, with that being said, a lot of these we're going to have to be familiar with. All right? Or we should be familiar with. Because we see them so much. We use them so much. So we got Yah, meaning me or mine, right? Right? So that's the possessive, right? And then also, meaning me or mine, you'll also see Anya. Anya, which is also I, right? Right? That's the formal way to say it. Now, actually, we're going to get to that later, all right? So we got Yah, meaning me or my. You got Ka, which is, remember, you know what I'm saying, in the Paleo Hebrew or the Syrian Hebrew, you'll see this character at the end, right? That'll look a little different than this character to be in the middle or the beginning of a word versus this character, which would be at the end of the word. But these are the same character. These are both Ka, all right? Ka, if you see it at the end of a word, 9 times out, or at the end of a word, it's gonna look like this. So let me go ahead and put this right here by itself. All right. Or actually, let me put it up here. But this is what you're gonna see. Because if you see this at the end of a word, that means it's a possessive. So it's gonna look at, if we're talking about possessives, you're gonna see this ka looking like this. Because possessives come at the end of a root word. All right. So it's gonna look like this. All right. So this ka means you or your. All right. Wa is he, his, it. All right. You got ha, meaning her, hers. All right. Nawa. Nawa, which is us, our, we. All right. And if you don't got this already in your notes, you should have it in your notes already. But if you don't, this is an excellent time to go ahead and get it in your notes. All right. It's an excellent time. All right. You should already have it. But, you know what I mean, if you don't, I would take advantage of this time and get it. All right. So you can get caught up. And you can have it in your notes now. All right. We got come or ka and ma together, which is going to be your. All right. And this is where you're going to have to understand all them components that we broke down earlier. All right, just, you know what I'm saying, just try to walk with me. You know what I'm saying? I know we should, you know what I'm saying, if you a diligent student, you should already have these in your notes. I know it's a little bit slow, but, you know what I mean, just walk with me. Walk with me, and we're going to understand these concepts. All right? This is your in a masculine sense. All right? You got kun, or ka and na. You got your in the feminine sense. All right. So we're gonna kind of get into what I was talking about. All right. We're gonna give you a second. If you ain't got this in your notes, or if you ain't already wrote it down, I'm gonna give you a little second to get it down. All right. All right, but this is going to be, so we was talking about first, second, and third person, all right? So, again, we know that first person is me. First person. Second person, all right? We having a conversation, and now it's third person, all right? So, we're telling a story about someone else. So you got first person, I'm telling a story about myself. Second person, you're the second person. And then third person, we're talking about somebody else. All right? Should be easy enough to understand. So now we're going to go over this. We're going to go down the list and just decipher whether this is first, second, or third person. All right? So me, my, is what perspective? If you got an answer, put it in the chat. You know what I mean? Let's go and participate and learn as a family. All right. You got you got the answers, you know what I'm saying, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. All right? All right, let's go ahead and get it on. You should be very easy to understand right here. So me, my, all right? Me, my is I'm talking about myself. So what we just talked about, and I'm gonna give you this one just for the sake of, you know what I'm saying, teaching, all right? Me, my, right, is first person, right? You're talking about yourself, so you're first person, all right? So me, my, first person, all right? Now, how many, you know what I'm saying, how many of me is there? All right, it should be real simple. How many of me is there? There's only one. So so if it's just one, then that's singular, all right? This is gonna be real important. All right, we're gonna get to that, but just keep that in mind, all right? All right, we're gonna get back to that, all right? So you got ka, which is you or your, all right? So is that first person, second person, or third person, all right? We talked about your, if we're talking about you, that means the second person, all right? All right? Why is gonna be he, his, or it. So I'm first person, you're second person, he, his, or it is gonna be what? Practically, it's gonna be third person. All right? This third person. All right? What about her or hers? Right? Her, hers, right? So if he or his or it is going to be third person, then her or hers is going to be what? So we're not talking about me. We're not talking about you. Me and you are having a conversation talking about her or hers. So that means we're now introducing a third person in the conversation. All right? So that's third. All right? Now this is where you're going to have to pay attention and kind of apply some intelligence, some practical knowledge, right? Or just pay attention to how we're going through things. It might be a little tricky at first, but you start to understand after, you know what I mean, you start to understand after a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of practice, a little bit of practical application, all right? So we're talking about us, our, we, right? Us, right? Us, since we're talking about us, right? This is also first person, all right? Right? But this is going to introduce the next concept, all right? So we talked about the perspective we're talking about, which is the first thing, the amount of people we're talking about, and the gender. That's going to come up in a lot of these new concepts that we're going to learn about. So we got the perspective we're talking about, us, right? This is first person. So I'm talking about myself, but it's us, right? So is us one person or multiple people? All right? All right? Us is multiple people. It's not just me I'm talking about. So it's first person. It's first person. I'm talking from my perspective. One from first person meaning myself, but I'm talking about multiple people. So now this Noah, us is a first person plural, right? Right? A first person plural, right? So if us talking about we, a lot of people is a first person plural, then what is me, right? Me, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about me by myself. So if us, Noah, is first person plural, then what is me? It's first person. I'm gonna go to the next thing and let y'all go ahead and answer. All right. Now we're gonna talk about you, your, right? Your. All right. We got come, ka and ma, come, right? Your. All right. Talking about or yours, belonging to you, right? Right? Or Shalakia, belonging to this is how we say y'all in the Lashawan Qadash. This is what this is. Let me change that. Let me change that on here. Y'all. Right? Right? So y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know how we talk as black people, black Hispanics and Native Americans, we say y'all. We don't say you all, we say y'all. Alright? Same thing with Hebrew. Come, ka, and ma at the end of a word is y'all. Alright? But that ma at the end, right here, means we're talking to a group of men. So now we're introducing gender. Alright? This is going to be very important. So I recommend you writing these down in your notes so that you can be up to speed and familiar once we get into these more complex lessons. All right. We got come meaning y'all. All right. We talking about y'all. So now we're not talking about you anymore. We're talking about y'all. So you and all who you with. All right. You and everybody you with. All right. So if I'm first person, you're second person, all right? So that means if I'm talking about you or y'all, then that means y'all is second person, but there's another context, or there's another attachment to it, right? Second person. So if I'm talking about y'all, it's not only second person, but it's plural. And there's another part. It's plural, but come in the Lashawan Qadash is talking about several brothers. We talking to a masculine y'all. So come, ka, and ma is second person, plural, and masculine. All right. So that leaves Khan, right? Which is, so if Khan is y'all, right? Y'all, as we already talked about, is second person. Second person, plural, feminine. All That's going to be very important, all right, as you looking through these things, all right? So let's go back to the top, all right? So we got me, my, right? That's first person, as we already figured out. First person. Now let's decide if it's, these are going to be the three components that you're going to have to look out for, all right? Deciding perspective, all right? What we talking about. We got, is it first, second, or third person? Is it plural or singular? And is it masculine or feminine? All right? That's all you want to think about. Is write that down in your notes if you need to, if it's not clear enough. If you got any questions, you know what I'm saying, now's the time to ask. But that's what you're going to want to look out for. You got first, second, or third person. You talking about me, you, or we talking about somebody else. Do you got plural or feminine? We talking about more than one person in a first person sense? More than one person on your side, or more than one person in a separate group? All right? And then feminine. Is it, we talking about boy or girl? You know what I'm saying? It's only two genders. All right? All right, so that's what you want to look out for. You got, so now we're going to go back to the top. Me or my, you know what I'm saying? You see a ya at the end of a root word, right? Which is a possessive. You see a ya at the end of a root word, right? You're talking about first person. But is me or my one person or several people? Obviously, that's one person. So one person means singular, right? So me or my, you see a ya at the end of a word, me or my would be singular, right? So that would be a first person singular, right? And the gender would depend on the context. So a ya at the end of a word, that could be feminine or masculine, depending on the context. And you'll get the context of who we're talking about from reading above the script, you know what I'm saying? Reading above the, you know what I'm saying, at the beginning of the story. You know what I'm saying? Like anything. Like if we're talking about a sister or a sister's telling a story, you know what I'm saying, you'll see that, okay, this is, if we see a ya at the end and we're talking about my, we know who's talking, and we'll be able to identify the gender from who's talking, right? So we're going to move down to your, right? You or your, we established that that's second person. So you or your is the second person, right? You or your, if I'm talking to you as one person, is that singular or plural? All right? Well, if I'm talking to you, one person, is that singular or plural? That's a question. All right? Yeah, just a little second to answer that. All right? And this should be real easy, you know what I'm saying, as we're moving along. This should be real easy. You should be picking up this concept pretty quickly, because it's not a concept that's exclusive to the Lashawan Qadash. This is, you know, this is any language, you know what I'm saying, any of our oppressive languages, whether it's or any language in general, you know what I'm saying, whether it's the Lashawan Qadash, whether it's English, whether it's Spanish, German, Italian, whatever the case is. This concept that I'm teaching right now isn't exclusive to just one language. It's just what it is. It's perspective. All right. So if I'm talking about me, this is first person. If I'm talking about you, it's second person. If I'm talking about me and you are having a conversation with someone else, or about someone else, Salakia, about someone else, then that's third person. All right. So the question is, we're talking about ka, right? So say for instance, we say Salakia. Ya at the end is talking about me. So salak is the root word that means forgive. Ya is the the possessive that means me. All right? So ya which is what we broke down right here, is me or my. That's a first person singular. All right. So if I say salak ka, that means forgive you. All right. So with that being said, if salak ya is first person, then what is ka? Salak ka. That's second person. All right. Now the question is that singular or plural? If I say ka, am I talking about more than one person? Or I'm talking about just one person, you? Right, second person, right? So that's second person. Ka is second person, but is that singular or plural? All right. We talking about one person. I say salat ka. I forgive you. So if me and you having a conversation, and I say I forgive you, are you more than one person, or are you just one person? All right, that's the question. All right, and that's gonna give you your answer. All right. Most times, I see you with your participation. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, give yourself a hand. But Lord willing to help you out with answering the question. Let me see. Okay, so if I'm talking to just you, all right, and you by yourself. Okay, I got you. Okay. So you by yourself, that's absolutely correct. You by yourself is singular. All right. So this ka at the end of a word is going to be second person because I'm talking to you. I'm first person. You're second person. And we talking together about somebody else, that's third person. All right. So with that being said, if I'm talking about you, ka, right, the second person, and it's going to be, like you said, singular. All right. Now let's go to the next one, which is wa, right? Now we're talking about he, his, or it. And these hand gestures, they help out a lot. Cause I ain't gonna lie, it could be very confusing at first if you're not familiar with it. You know what I mean? First, second, and third person. Cause I ain't gonna lie, when I was growing up learning English in English class, I only ever learned about first person and third person. So second person threw me off, right? So you reading a story, and it's either told in first person, meaning somebody's telling a story from their perspective. I did this, I did that, and I saw this, and they did that, and she did this. They're telling a story from their perspective. That's first person point of view. And then third person is just she did this and he did this. It's a person outside of the situation telling a story about what they're seeing. But I only learned about those two perspectives. I never learned about second person. So it threw me off when I started to learn about it in the truth. But you understanding these different perspectives is gonna help you be able to identify. It's gonna help you out a lot. But it might be confusing at first. So it's no shame in that. But that's why we're doing this. That's why we're here. All right. So we got he, his, or it. All right. So that's why I'm doing this. First person, second person, me and you talking, third person. All right. So he, his, or it. So if we talking, it's like, okay, he did this. So me and you talking. I'm talking to you, you talking to me. And I say, he did this, or that's his, or it did this. All right? Is that first, second, or third person? Is that first, second, or third person? Let me know something. All right? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to let y'all handle your business, all right? I'll give you a hint. It's on the board. All right. So this he or Salaki, this he, his, or it is obviously, there you go, third person, all right? Just like, okay, we're going to combine these two because it's the same concept. But, all right, so just like ha at the end of a word, right? So why, if you see why at the end of a root word, it's going to be he, his, or it, right? If you see it, or if there's no gender attached, right, it's going to be in a general sense, right? And if you're talking about a general sense, it's going to automatically be the masculine context, which we're going to get into in a second. But if you specifying specifically feminine, it's going to be ha, all right? So if I say, like, for example, a couple months ago, a couple years ago, or a year ago, you know what I'm saying, however long it was, we went over a class about who, what, when, where, why. We practiced using the word Abba, which is father, all right? So who is your father? So ma meaning who, or what is your father, Salakia, or what nationality. So ma meaning what, Abba meaning father, and then we practice putting these possessives at the end. So who is your father? Ma Abba Ka. Who is his father? Ma Abba Ha. Right? Who is her father? Ma Abba Wa. Right? So he, his, or it is going to be Wa, and her or hers is going to be Ha. All right? So both of them are third person, like we established earlier. Both of them going to be third person. So is it, now we got to look at, okay, we got the okay, the what's the word, the perspective, who we're talking about, how many, right? So, or Slakia, is it first, second, or third person? We got that established. So we got to establish this third person, all right? Now, is it, how many are we talking about? Is it singular or plural? All right, that's the next question. All right, that's the next question. So we got third person. Are we talking about one person or multiple people? If we say he or she, we talking about one person or multiple people? That's the question. And then the next thing you want to be able to identify is, are we talking about male or female? Right? Right? And that should let you know, sidebar, while y'all answering this question, you know what I mean? That should let you know that there's only two genders. All right? I mean, I hope my video, I hope my class don't get shadow banned because I said that, but logic and practicality and language will tell you, even language will tell you that there's only two genders. You know what I mean? Because every language, like we talked about before, every language and culture has, every language or culture has perspective. It's going to be first person, second person, third person. It's going to be singular or plural. And then it's going to be masculine or feminine. All right, so every language has that. Okay, I see. Okay, so both of these are going to be, if we talking about he, his, or it, you know what I mean? It's going to be, like the sister said, it's going to be singular. And it's going to be singular for both of them. Are you talking about he, his, or it, or her or hers? So we're talking about third person, me and you having a conversation about a third person, about a third singular person. So them by themselves. We talking about them by themselves. All right. So now, simple question, easy money. Is he masculine or feminine? And is she masculine or feminine? That's the third component. All right. Should be real easy. Real easy. Okay, yes, I see masculine and feminine. All right. So are you saying he is masculine and feminine? Are you saying her is masculine and feminine? You gotta be more specific. All right. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be more specific for these yahoos on online talking about theirs. You know what I'm saying? They gender fluid and all of that. I mean, I know we know what reality is and who's male and who's female, and there's only two general genders, but there's two genders, but you gotta be very specific for these yahoos, for these, you know what I'm saying, these goofies online who just so open-minded, who's so open-minded and accept all these different, you know what I'm saying, these different perspectives of life, and you know what I'm saying, other people's you know what I'm saying, things, you know what I'm saying, they're okay, I got you. All right, that's okay, got you. Yeah, you just got to be most specific for these. You know what I'm saying? You got some psychos online. You know what I'm saying? Who just so open minded to other people's lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? No matter how destructive to themselves and to other people their lifestyle is. But okay, I see what you're saying though. You got third person singular. You saying he is masculine, right? And you're saying her is feminine. And that's absolutely correct. All right? So, all right, so you got, this is what you want to understand about all these perspectives, all right? You got me or my, that's one person talking to another person, or that's one person, right? And that's first person, so that's me, all right? First person is me. Anytime you deal with me or my, and you're gonna want to remember this. I'm just reiterating. I know I've said it about 1 billion times in this class, but you want to remember, all right? All right. First person is me, all right? And I'm talking about just me, so it's singular, all right? So me or my is first person singular, all right? And it's just in a general gender. You know what I'm saying? You could, if you saying ya, if you got a ya at the end of your root word, then that could be, you know what I'm saying, whether you male or female, you can use that suffix. So you can use that possessive, all right? So, and then the story in itself will tell you the context of gender, all right? So to get the gender, you would have to just read the story, all right? Ka is you or yours. So me is first person. You is second person. So you would be second person, and we're talking about one you, so that's singular. And again, that can be any gender depending on the context, all right? Wa at the end of a root word is he, his, or it. So that's third person. So me and you are talking about he or his or it. Right? So that's third person. We're talking about one he, right? Or one it. So that would be singular. And he is obviously masculine, right? Ha would be her or hers. So it would be the same thing. Third person, singular, but feminine. All right. Nawa is us or our or we. So we're talking about me now, or we're talking about more than one me. All right. So it's us, right, or we. So it's, if I'm talking about me, it's first person. But instead of just me by myself, it's not me. It's we now. So instead of just me, it's plural. Right? So first, we is first person plural, right? You're going to hear a lot of that. First person singular, first person plural. And us, our, we, you know what I'm saying? Anytime you hear a masculine context, it could be used in general. So it could be masculine, or it could just be in general. All right. So first person masculine. All right. We talking about a group of men, or first person. We talking about we. We talking about a group of men and women. It'll use the masculine tense. All right. You got come, just y'all. So you, we not talking about you no more. We talking about y'all, a group of people that I'm talking about or I'm talking to. All right. You got y'all come with a ma at the end. That's very important. Very important distinction. The second person, because we're talking about y'all, you and whoever you with. All right. So second person, plural, because you are with a bunch of people. And then the ma at the end makes it masculine. Now, same thing, right? You got Khan, right? Like we say Yahweh Shamar Latan to the sisters. We say Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shabrakathum to the brothers. We put a ma on when we talking to a group of brothers. We put a na at the end when we talking to sisters. So Khan, talking about y'all, is second person, so y'all, but we talking about a group of sisters. All right. So second person, plural, because it's several of y'all, but feminine. All right. That's what you want to get more from. That's what you want to get familiar with as we go on to these next, you know what I'm saying, these next couple lessons, because it's going. It could get real complicated, but if you're not familiar with this, then I ain't gonna lie to you. Like you're gonna get confused. You're gonna have these basic questions that's gonna feel so complex to you, and then before you know it, you're just gonna cut the class off. You're just gonna cut it off because it's too complicated. And you know what I'm saying? But so what I would recommend for brothers and sisters is just go, you know what I'm saying, what we just went over in this class. You know what I mean? Tell your friends, tell your sisters, tell your brothers, you know what I'm saying? Keep these in your notes. Write them down in your notes and get familiar with them so that as we progress, we can progress as a family. All right? But get this in your notes. Get real familiar with it. With that, you know what I'm saying? We're going to say Imadium, which means to stand. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Individual Madhu Shabbat. Imajim, Barak, Yahaba Shem Yahushua Brakathum, Yad Yamata. Sorry, we're going to turn to the sisters, give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Individual, Madhu Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahab Shamar Latam Ba Shem Yahushua, Yad Yamata. Dismiss.